The iPad is a great special education resource, primarily because of the different settings that you can change. Um, when you select General, a few things that you can do is you can actually change the keyboard the way it looks. So if you are having a student that maybe ESL or ELL that you would like to allow them to type their own story in their native language, they have the ability. You will have to use like a Google Translator to be able to translate it back into English, but by doing this, it at least takes away any of the barriers that they might have when they are required to use just English language. To do that, simply go to keyboard, add new keyboard, and decide which language you want them to be able to use. Another nice feature on keyboards, if a student is constantly using the same word or phrase over and over again, you can actually create your own your shortcut. Simply type in the phrase that you want and then whatever shortcut you wish to be able to use. Back in the general settings, if you have a student that's using the iPad solely on their own, if they, again, their language is not a native English, you have the ability to change that language underneath the international options. Some students that may have difficulty with fine motor skills might have an option of being able to turn off the multi-gestures, the 4 and 5 finger swipes. A lot of students don't typically have a problem with that, but there is an option to be able to take that away. The next thing that special ed is really will like is using the accessibility tools. The first option is being able to voice over. What this will do is anytime I tap on the screen, it's actually going to read what I just selected. It takes away a lot of the gestures. You still have the ability to interact with it. You simply have to select it once, and then the second tap will allow you to turn up your volume as you see fit, such as that. These voiceover options also have, if you have a student that needs to use Braille, you'll be able to get a separate keyboard and you can set that up as well. Going back into the accessibility options, if a student needs to be able to zoom in and see things a little bit closer, you can turn that on. It explains how you can magnify the screen just by 3-finger taps, and then you can rearrange and move the screen as you need to and throughout that app. Large text, if a student just needs to be able to see something bigger, such as your notebook or your keynote presentations, you can actually increase the font size on that. Students that may suffer from dyslexia, you have the option to be able to invert the colors so the words don't necessarily fall off the page as they are trying to read them. One really nice feature that they've added is this guided access. When you turn this on, you set up a passcode. This allows students to only access that specific app that you want to have. So you'll access it. You can block out certain parts of the screens so they can or cannot you'll be able to use that. An example of a way to do this is when you triple click on it, you can turn on your assisted touching. So if I tell it to start, I can decide, hey, I don't want this person to touch that specific part of the screen. When I say start, that will be a dead spot on your iPad. And again, you won't be able to close out of the specific app that you want them to be on until you actually use the passcode that you've set up. Another tool that they have for physical and motor disabilities, if you use assisted touch, you can actually create your own gestures. You just have to set them up. And when you're ready to create them, you simply select Create New Gesture and decide on what gesture you want them to do. When you're happy with it, you say Stop. Save the gesture to whatever it happens to be. Hit Save. And then you're going to be able to set up your circle gesture however you may need, grabbing this little tool, and it'll send you to whatever you may have set the gesture up for. The last thing, and you may have noticed a little pop-up notifying me that a class is going to be coming up, but by using both the calendar and notifications, it allows the students, especially if it's their own iPad that they're going to be using, it allows them to keep track of their schedules, kind of know what's going on with the appointment. You can actually set up multiple calendars, so a teacher can set up a calendar, they can be subscribed to that calendar, and automatically if you have a test on a specific day, they can set that up and it automatically is going to be in their calendar, so they don't have to be reliant on setting up their own calendars. This is a great option for students that may forget to be filling out their planners or don't have the ability to fill out the planner. And same with the notifications. If you want them to set up a notification or a reminder, they can set up, they simply add their own. To my knowledge, you do have the ability to set up multiple accounts. So once again, the teacher has the ability to set up their own accounts on that. So those are some of the options available for special education using the iPad.